everyone. Thank you all for joining today. I, again, just feel so blessed and excited to share yoga with people that I love. So thank you for supporting me and joining me today. Instead of starting in a seated position, which most yoga classes start in, I know it's the morning, we might still be waking up a little bit, so we'll actually start on our back today. So if you want to just slowly get onto your back, I'm going to light my incense here. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together. This is what is called Supta Baddha Konasana, or essentially it's reclined butterfly. So you're in like a butterfly position with your legs, the soles of your feet are together. Arms are out wide in like a cactus position. So your arms are bent at the elbow. Your chest is open. Your shoulder blades melting into the mat. And allow your eyes to gently close. Just connecting this morning to your breath. Noticing the length of your inhales and the length of your exhales. The theme for today's class has to do with your heart chakra. That's essentially the energy center of your chest, of your heart. So we'll be focusing a lot today on heart opening positions, some back bends, some gentle back bends, and sun salutation focus. I thought it would be fitting for a morning flow to really focus and channel our energy through our sun salutations. So as you begin to notice your breath in this reclined butterfly, just really starting to deepen your inhales and your exhales. Connecting to that heart chakra, our center of compassion. Compassion for ourselves, and compassion that we offer externally to those around us in the world that we're living in. A center of unconditional love and our well-being. If you can't love yourself, it'll be a lot harder to offer that love externally to others. So as you're deepening your inhales and your exhales, feeling your belly rise and fall, your deep diaphragm breath, really filling your lungs and your belly with each inhale, and allowing that air to fall right back out of your lungs as you exhale. Be reading some affirmations that I wrote for today's class. So just let these words marinate in your heart and your mind. I am kind to myself. I allow love to fill me up and guide my actions. I love myself and others fearlessly. I have the strength to follow my heart. I am willing to release all fears. I am open to give and receive love. I love and accept myself. So just reading those affirmations one more time as you let them really soak into your heart space and flood your mind. Deepening your breaths, slowing your heart rate. I am kind to myself. I allow love to fill me up and guide my actions. I love myself and others fearlessly. I have the strength to follow my heart. I am willing to release all fears. I am open to give and receive love. I love and accept myself. Taking one more deep inhale and exhale. Stretching our feet out long in front of us, releasing the soles of our feet. So our legs are stretched out beneath us. And on an inhale, rising your arms above your head for a nice morning stretch. A stretch that we often do while we're still laying in bed, really stretching out our muscles. Breathing from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, one long line of energy. Maybe seeing what it feels like to flex your feet versus have them pointed. Breathing here, stretching out our spine and creating space in our body. And on your next exhale, walking your feet out to the right side of your mat and walking your hands over your head to the right side. So we're in kind of like a crescent shape, or this pose is also called banana. So we're stretching our feet and our hands over to the right side for a left side body stretch. Really breathing into that left side. Shoulder blades are still both melted into the mat. Connecting back to that love and compassion that we hold for ourselves. We're going to be moving pretty slowly through a lot of these warm-ups in our sun salutations today. As it is the morning, and oftentimes our joints and muscles can still be kind of sticky from our night's sleep. Exhaling, walking your toes back to center and your hands back up overhead. Pausing for a breath. And then walking your feet over to the left side of your mat and walking your hands over to the left, creating another crescent shape, a banana on the other side. Breathing through our right side body. Both shoulders are still planted on the mat beneath us. And sometimes a slower flow is more difficult for our mind. So I challenge you today, if you feel your mind doubting your strength or wandering off your mat, to reconnect back to your breath, focusing on the inhales and exhales as our breath guides our practice today. On your next exhale, walking your feet back to center and your arms back outstretched over your head. Pausing for a breath. And exhaling, bringing the soles of your feet onto the mat, bending your knees. Arms can come down by our sides, palms facing down. Walking your feet in towards your torso a bit. Maybe your fingertips can graze your heels. And on an inhale, rising your pelvis up to the sky into a bridge pose. Holding here for a few breaths as you ground through all four corners of each feet. Strong core, glutes are activated. Inhaling, exhaling. One more breath here as we hold this posture. And on your next exhale, slowly releasing your pelvis back down to the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae. Pausing for a breath, grounding through all four corners of each foot. On an inhale, rising our pelvis back to the sky for bridge. And maybe this is where you stay today. Or maybe you can roll your shoulder blades under your back and clasp your hands beneath your bum for a little extra lift this morning. Breathing deeply through your tummy. Holding here for another 2 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, slowly unclasping your hands and releasing your back onto the mat. Pausing for a breath. And on your next inhale, rising your pelvis up to the sky one more time. Maybe tucking under your shoulder blades and clasping your hands underneath your bum for an extra lift here. Wide collarbones as we lift our heart to the sky. Deep inhalations and exhalations. One more deep breath. And on your exhale, slowly unclasping your hands and releasing your bottom back down onto the mat. Pausing here for a breath. Bringing your knees into your chest, giving yourself a little hug. Exhaling, releasing your arms out to the sides at a T shape. And on your next exhale, releasing your knees over to the right side, all the way to the ground for a supine twist. Your gaze is following over your left fingertips. And both shoulders are still planted firmly into the mat. Allowing your body to rest heavy in this posture. Massaging our organs in this twist. Telling them it's time to wake up. We've got the whole day ahead of us. And that's what I love about morning yoga is it really sets the tone for your day. You're able to quiet your mind and allow your body to speak. Following our breath. Inhaling your knees back to center. And exhaling, letting your knees fall heavy over to the left side. Gaze is following over our right fingertips. Detoxing our organs, flushing out any toxins. Fresh start this morning. Allowing your body to rest heavy. Slow movements this morning. Two more deep inhales and exhales. Inhale and exhale. Next inhale, rising your feet, your knees back into center. Releasing the soles of your feet back down onto the mat. And slowly rolling yourself up into a seated position. Into a comfortable seated position, so legs can be crossed, or maybe your legs are out in front of you. Palms are face down on our knees. On an inhale, rising our shoulders to meet our ears. And exhale with a heavy sigh as we release our shoulders. Inhaling our shoulders to our ears. Exhaling with a heavy sigh as we let any fear or insecurity out. Inhaling our shoulders to our ears. Exhaling as we release. Remember, you're on mute, so let those sighs be loud. Inhale as we lift our shoulders. Exhale as we release. Following your own breath or allowing my guidance this morning. Exhale as we release. Inhale, shoulders to ears. Exhale as we release and let go. Three more at your own pace. Inhale as we stretch out those shoulders and exhale, letting it go. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale, really shrug those shoulders up high. And exhale, letting it go. On your next inhale, rising your arms overhead, palms to touch. Exhale as we twist over to our right side, our left palm meets our right knee, and our right palm comes out behind us on the mat as we twist over our right shoulder. With each inhale, we are extending, lengthening through our spine. And with each exhale, maybe twisting just a bit deeper. Our gaze is over our right shoulder. We allow our body to twist deeply here. On your next inhale, rising your hands back up through center. And exhaling, twisting off to the left side, your right palm meets your left knee, and your left palm comes out behind you. Our gaze following over that left shoulder. With each inhale, we're extending, lengthening through our spine, through the crown of our head. And with each exhale, maybe twisting just a bit deeper. Remembering to breathe, even if your breath feels a bit more constricted as your body is twisting. Inhaling, reaching your arms back up to center as we unwind. And exhale, hands can come back onto our lap. Bringing the soles of our feet together for Baddha Konasana or butterfly. This time, bringing your heels in as comfortable as it is for you towards your torso. Really sitting up strong and tall here. We're not crouched over, lifting through our heart, wide collarbones. Taking a deep inhale. And exhale as we fall forward over our feet. Your hands can either stay resting on your feet or maybe they rest out on the mat in front of you. But allowing your neck to be soft and your head to hang heavy. Really giving those hips, those groins a nice stretch this morning. Breathing into that groin area. Creating space in our hips this morning. Inhale as we walk our hands back to our torso and rise. Moving our feet out in front of us a bit. So our legs are creating a diamond shape here. Same thing, sitting up nice and tall, long, elongated spine. So we inhale and exhale, falling forward, heavy over our feet. Again, our hands can be resting on our ankles, or perhaps they're outstretched in front of us on the mat. Either way, your head hangs heavy and your neck is soft. Feeling the different sensation that this butterfly variation provides to your hips. And on your next inhale, walking your hands back towards your torso and rising to center. Mermaiding, our legs are round as we come into our first tabletop of this practice. So ensuring that you are set up properly, your wrists are under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips. Your toes are untucked, so the tops of your feet are flat on the mat, and your pelvis is tucked for a flat spine. So finding your balance here. Notice maybe where the pressure is in your hands. If the weight of your body is resting in your wrists, allow your fingertips to engage so that you have even weight distributed in both palms. On an inhale, dropping your belly, lifting your chest and your chin for cow. Exhaling as you round your spine and tuck your chin for cat. Inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the heart, wide collarbones. Exhale, round your spine and tuck your chin. Following your own pattern of your breath this morning. Inhale as you lift the chin and chest. Exhale as you curl and round your spine. Really working that spine, warming up each vertebrae, creating space. Lubricating our joints, our spine. Inhaling as we lift our chest and our chin. Exhaling as we round and tuck. Inhaling. And exhaling as we round. Two more at your own pace as you inhale, lifting your chin. Exhale as you round. Inhaling as you lift. And exhaling, coming to neutral spine. Bringing your toes together and your knees out wide, sitting back towards your heels into a child's pose. Allowing your forehead to rest on the mat in front of you. Arms out wide overhead, palms on the mat. Allowing your body to sink heavy into your hips. Resting here for just a few breaths. Maybe rolling your head from side to side, massaging your forehead, your third eye. Inhale, rising back up to center. Keeping your toes touched. Bring your knees in together to touch. So you come to this seat. It's a variation of child's pose. So bringing your forehead back down to the mat on an exhale. And this time your arms are coming out beside you. So let your shoulder and your back round as you rest in this little ball. There's no right or wrong way for child's pose. So sometimes people's hips don't allow them to stretch their knees out wide as far, and this posture is just as beneficial. Coming back to that breath. Deepening our inhales and our exhales. Planting your palms back down onto the mat as you rise your torso back up through center. Coming up onto our toes and meeting at the top of our mat into Tadasana or mountain pose. So widening our toes, feeling all four corners of our feet on the mat. Our legs are engaged. Our tailbone is tucked. Strong tummy. Shoulders are rolled up and back, protecting the back of our heart space, really lifting our chest. Energy shooting out from the palms of your hands, facing forward. Finding that strength in this pose that's so simple, yet so powerful. Finding your breath here. Standing in all that you are. On an inhale, rising your arms up overhead. Palms come to touch. And exhale as we fall forward into our first forward fold of our practice. Maybe your knees are bent, and that's perfectly acceptable. Maybe you're walking out your knees a little bit, adding some movement this morning. You can grasp opposite elbows as you hang heavy here. Or maybe your palms graze the mat. Really relaxing that neck, letting any of that fear, insecurity, negative thoughts just drip out of your head, out of your hair, and release and let it go. Feeling that stretch in our calves and our hamstrings. They're probably still tight and sticky from our night's sleep last night, really warming up our body. As you inhale, your palms will come to meet your shins as you rise halfway, flat back. Exhale, falling back forward into our forward fold. Planting our hands on the mat as we step back into a high plank. So dropping our booty so we have a straight spine. We're not in a V shape. Straight spine, engaging all 10 fingertips so our wrists are protected here. Remembering our breath. Shifting our weight forward over our wrists as we exhale and lower our torso towards the mat. Untucking our toes as we rise our chest up into upward dog on an inhale. Exhale as we retuck our toes and press back into our first downward dog. So all 10 fingertips are engaged. Our shoulders are relaxed. Gravity is pulling our heels as close to the mat as they can. Our pelvis is lifted high. And again, a bend in the knee here is always acceptable. Maybe you're walking out your legs a little bit, stretching out those calves. Or maybe you're finding stillness this morning. Either way, coming back to that breath. Coming back to that loving intention that we set this morning. On your next inhale, jumping or walking your feet to meet your hands at the top of the mat into our forward fold. And on your next inhale, rooting to rise, lifting your arms up overhead. Inhale. And exhale, taking those cactus arms again for a small back bend. Inhaling back up through center. And exhaling, hands come down to heart center as we release back into our Tadasana. Pausing here again, finding that strength in this simple yet powerful pose. Aligning your body. Is your pelvis tucked? Are your legs engaged? Feeling that love, energy pouring from the center of our heart. Inhaling again, arms come up to center, overhead. Palms to touch. Exhale as we fall forward into our forward fold. Pausing here for a breath. Palms come to shins as we inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, falling forward into our forward fold. Palms come down to the mat as we step back into our high plank. Strong core, fingertips engaged. Hold in here, you can do this. Shifting our weight forward over our wrists as we exhale and release our torso towards the mat. Untucking our toes and lifting our chest on an inhale to up dog. Exhale as we tuck our toes and press back into our downward facing dog. Again, our pelvis is lifted. Gravity bringing our heels close to the mat. Pausing for a breath. And jumping or stepping your feet to meet your hands at the top of your mat into our forward fold. Rooting to rise, arms come up overhead on an inhale. Taking those cactus arms on an exhale for a small back bend, heart lifted. Arms come back overhead. Exhale, releasing our palms to our heart center and down by our side for Tadasana. One more sun salutation. You can either follow your own breath if you feel comfortable, or you can follow my guidance. So inhale, reaching our arms up overhead. Exhale, hands together, falling forward into our forward fold. Pausing for a moment. Palms come to shins as we inhale, flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, falling forward. Planting our hands onto the mat, stepping back into our high plank. Engaging our fingertips. Strong core. Pausing for a breath. You can do this. Shifting our weight forward over our wrists as we exhale and release our torso towards the mat, untucking our toes as we rise our chest into up dog. Exhale, tucking our toes, rounding back as we step back into our downward facing dog. Shoulders are relaxed, palms engaged, rising our pelvis towards the sky. And on your next breath, stepping or jumping your feet to meet your hands back at the top of your mat into our forward fold. On your next inhale, rooting to rise, scooping up all of that loving energy. Exhale as we take cactus arms into a back bend. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center and down by our sides into our Tadasana. Pausing for a moment, finding that breath again. Even inhales, even exhales. Are your legs engaged? Is your heart open to receive love? Now grounding through our left foot, stepping our right foot back towards the end of our mat. Your foot is parallel, your right foot is parallel with the short end of your mat. Now, in order to properly align as we prepare for a warrior two, imagine a line is drawn from your left heel back to the arch of your right foot. That's how you know that your feet are in the correct alignment. So I'll say that again, your left heel is in line with the arch of your right foot that is parallel towards the short end of your mat. So bending through that left knee, knee over ankle, maybe adjusting your footprint a little bit if you want to get a little deeper. Our hips are square to the long edge of our mat. Our pelvis is tucked. So we inhale and rise our arms out to the side. One long line of energy from fingertip to fingertip. Straight arms, strong core. Pausing here for a moment. Inhale, reaching your arms up overhead, maintaining that bend in your front knee. Exhale, releasing your left forearm to your left thigh as you reach your right arm over your right ear for extended side angle. Again, maintaining that bend in your left front knee. Your back leg is nice, strong, and straight. All four corners of your foot is still on the mat. Trying to create one long line from fingertip down to your right foot. And maybe this is where you stay this morning. Or maybe you want to challenge yourself and bring your left arm straight down to meet your left ankle. Either way, your chest is still lifted. You're not curling over. So heart is lifted. Breathing through that right side body. Inhale, strong core coming back up through center. Maintaining that bend in our left knee. Again, our hips are square towards the long edge of our mat. Arms rise. Checking in with that back arm. Is it falling behind? Bringing it back up parallel. This time as you inhale, straightening out that front leg. Exhale, shifting your weight forward over your left leg. And down your left hand meeting your left shin. So this time our right arm is shooting up towards the sky, not over our ear. Up towards the sky. We're pushing out of that left shoulder, really extending and lengthening our wingspan here. This is triangle. Strong core, our heart is lifted, extending through our wingspan. Strong core, inhaling to rise back up through center. Pausing here for a moment. And as we exhale, cartwheeling our hands down to frame our left foot on the mat. Stepping our left foot back to meet our right into a downward facing dog. Pausing here for a moment, seeing maybe the sensations that are different on your left and right side. On your next inhale, walking or jumping your feet up to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Pausing for a breath. And on your next inhale, rooting to rise, arms come up overhead. You know what's coming. Exhale, cactus arms into a back bend. Inhale, hands rise overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center. And palms to our side for our strong Tadasana. Grounding through that right foot. Stepping our left foot back this time. Just gonna go this way so I can see you guys. So our left foot is stepping back towards the back end of our mat. Our left foot is parallel with the short end of our mat. And again, to maintain alignment, your right heel is directly in line with your left arch. So bending through that right knee, knee over ankle. Hips are aligned to the front, to the long edge of your mat. Our pelvis is tucked. We have a strong tummy. Inhale, rising our arms. Warrior two. Good job. Check in with that back arm. Make sure it's not falling down. Parallel arms here, one long line of energy. Pausing for a breath. Inhale as you reach your arms overhead. Exhale, bringing your right forearm down to meet your right thigh. As you lift and rise that left arm over your left ear. Maintaining that bend in your front leg. And remember, we're not falling over. Our chest is lifted. Finding that strength. Still have a strong core here. Again, if you want to take it a little step further, you can extend that right arm down and rest it on the inside of your right ankle. Maybe your arm stays on your thigh this morning, wherever you're at. Pausing for a breath. Engaging our tummy as we inhale back up through center, maintaining that bend in our right knee. Inhale, extending that right leg so both legs are straight. Shifting our weight forward over our right leg, and exhaling down, our right hand meets our right shin. Left arm lifted up, straight line, lifting out of that right shoulder, extending our wingspan for triangle. Strong legs, strong active core. Make sure our hand is not placed on our knee. It can either be on our thigh or our shin. We don't want to put that weight on our joint. Pausing for a breath. And on your next inhale, engaging your core, rising back up through center. Beautiful. Exhaling, cartwheeling your hands down to frame your right foot on the mat. Stepping your right foot back to meet its partner into downward facing dog. Catching your breath here, lifting your pelvis high. And on your next inhale, walking or jumping your feet to meet your hands into your forward fold. And on your next inhale, slowly rooting to rise, scooping up all of that love. Exhale, cactus arms, back bend. Inhale, palms overhead, hands to heart center. As we come back to our Tadasana. Pausing here for just a breath, again, finding that strong core, rooting through all four corners of your feet. Heart is lifted, collarbones are wide. Inhale, rising our arms overhead. Exhale, falling forward into that forward fold. Pausing for a breath. Inhale, palms come to shins, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, falling forward. Palms meet the mat. Stepping back into our high plank again. All 10 fingertips engaged. Tummy is tight. Shifting our weight over our wrists as we exhale and lower our torso towards the mat, untucking our toes, lifting our chest into up dog. Exhale as we tuck our toes, round our spine, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Finding your breath here. Grounding through that left foot. Inhale, rise your right foot out behind you for three-legged dog. Exhale, bring your knee to meet your right wrist, right behind your right wrist, and allow your leg to meet the mat. Untucking your left toes and sitting back, preparing for pigeon. Now, those of you that might have knee sensitivity, you can always release and come back just into child's pose because this can be quite heavy on the knees. So I'm going to turn my body this way so you can see exactly how pigeon is set up. So your leg, if it can come parallel, great. I can't. It's tough on the knees. So our palms are on the mat in front of us. Inhale, creating a slight back bend. And exhale, falling any amount forward over that bent right knee. Maybe your palms meet the mat. Maybe your forearms meet the mat. But really sinking deep into this hip opening stretch. Maybe allowing your head to hang heavy. Pigeon, like I said, is tough on the knees, but it's an awesome hip opener. Hips tend to store a lot of emotion and past trauma, so hip openers can be not only physically hard, but mentally hard as well. So I encourage you to reconnect back into our intention of loving compassion for yourself, meeting yourself wherever you're at today, breathing into that left hip, allowing your body to rest deeply into this posture. Coming back to that breath, maybe deepening your inhales and your exhales if they become shallow. Pausing, maybe just 2 more breaths in this pose before we can come out of it. On your next inhale, walking your hands back up towards your torso. Just gonna change position here. Planting your palms firmly on the mat in front of you, tucking your back toe, so your left toes are now tucked. Inhaling, pressing back up into downward facing dog. So both feet come back onto the mat. Finding your breath again, finding this balanced posture. On your next inhale, rising your left leg up towards the sky for 3-legged dog. And exhale, bringing your knee into your chest and placing your left knee behind your left wrist, allowing your leg to come and fall heavy onto the mat. Untucking your right toe, so you slide back into pigeon. Again, if it's tough on your knee, I encourage you to just press back into a child's pose, as it's still a great hip opener. Inhale, rising our chest for a small back bend. And exhale, falling any amount forward over that knee. Maybe your palms stay on the mat. Maybe you can bring your forearms down. Breathing into that right hip. Allowing compassion for yourself, meeting yourself where you're at today. Oftentimes, your hips are not the same amount open. So maybe this is harder on this side for you, or maybe the other side was harder, but either way, reminding yourself that wherever you're at is exactly where you need to be. Connecting back into your breath. Allowing yourself to sink heavy into this hip opener. Maybe letting your head hang heavy towards the mat. On your next inhale, walking your hands back towards your torso, planting your palms on the mat in front of you, tucking your right toes, lifting and pressing back up into downward facing dog. Both feet come to the mat. Pausing here for a breath. And on your next exhale, dropping your knees to the mat into a tabletop. Untucking your toes so the top of your feet are flat on the ground. And inhale, rising up onto your knees. So your feet are flat, tailbone is tucked as we're on our knees here. Bringing your palms to the lower part of your back. Inhale for a slight back bend. Your hands are supporting your back. Exhale, coming back through center. We'll do a few more rounds of these. So inhale as you lean back, open up your chest. Exhale, coming back through center. Strong tummy as you inhale, leaning back, opening your chest. Strong tummy bringing you back through center as you exhale. Inhale, rising your chest into a back bend. Exhale, strong tummy bringing you back to center. And maybe that's as far as you want to take your back bend today, but I'll give you another option if you want to go a little deeper. Bringing your arms out behind you as you inhale, Reaching your fingers towards your heels, resting your fingers on your heels and lifting up through the shoulders, through your chest into camel. Pausing here for a few breaths, or maybe you stayed with your hands on your lower back. Either way, pausing for just a breath or two. And on your exhale, strong tummy, lifting your torso back up through center. Do maybe 2 more of those wherever you're at. Inhale, reaching back, lifting your chest, pausing for a breath. Next breath, strong tummy, rising your core back up through center. Inhale, reaching back for your ankles, opening up through the chest, lifting out of our shoulders. And on your next breath, strong tummy, rising you back up through center. Beautiful job. Now our feet are together, our knees come together. So we sit back on our heels and take that child's pose variation. So our arms come out behind us, our forehead meets the mat. So we roll into this egg shape, a nice counter pose for back bends. So you can probably feel your lower back stretched out, nice sensation. Maybe rolling your forehead on the mat for another little third eye massage. Allowing your breath to return back to normal. Giving your body a nice break from all of the work that we've done as we prepare for our cool down. Planting your palms back onto the mat and pushing yourself up out of this child's pose. Mermaiding your feet around to come into a seated position with your legs outstretched in front of you. Moving any fleshy parts from under your sit bones so you're sitting nice and tall. Lengthened spine from the roots all the way through the crown of your head. Your feet are flexed and your toes are being pressed back towards your body. Inhale, rising your arms overhead, lengthening through your spine as you exhale and fall forward over your legs. Maybe your hands meet your shins. Maybe you can reach your feet. But allowing this posture to be a stretch, but yet comfortable, so you don't want it to hurt. You're going to be resting here for just a few breaths, letting your neck and head hang heavy. Softening your breath, coming back into your normal pattern, your normal breath rhythm of inhales and exhales. Maybe a nice big releasing sigh. One more deep breath here. On an inhale, slowly vertebrae by vertebrae, rising back up through center into staff pose, Dandasana. On your next exhale, releasing your back, slowly, strong core, all the way back down onto your mat. Inhaling your knees into your chest, giving yourself a little hug. And exhaling your feet extended out tall in front of you, rising your legs up towards heaven. Seeing what it feels like to point your toes versus have them flexed. And if your knees are bent here, again, always acceptable. Just meet yourself where you're at this morning. Letting all that blood flow rush back into your body, allowing your heart rate to decrease. Breathing through, strong core, your shoulder blades are both resting into the mat beneath you. Holding this posture for just a few more breaths, allowing all of that lactic acid to be released from your legs and your feet. Finding your breath, connecting back to that intention of loving yourself and allowing that love to overflow out into the world, to others, to nature, to everything that you do. Exhale, bringing your knees back into your chest for one last hug. Maybe your knees rotating in a circular motion, giving your lower back, your lumbar spine a little massage before we prepare for our last posture of the day, Shavasana. If you're rolling your knees in one direction, I encourage you to take the other direction. Maybe you're rocking side to side, whatever feels good for your body this morning. On your next exhale, extending your legs out in front of you on the mat. Arms come down by your sides, or perhaps you have one hand over your belly and one over your heart. Gently allowing your eyes to close. Connecting back into your breath. Allowing your toes, your feet to hang heavy. Remember, I will be taking you out of this posture, so allow yourself this rest, this few minutes to rejuvenate, to thank yourself, to thank your body for all of the hard work. Allowing your wrists to be relaxed, your arms, your shoulders melting into the mat. Your knees are soft, your chin is soft. Releasing your tongue from the roof of your mouth if your jaw is clenched. Your eyebrows are released. Repeating these affirmations that we started with at the beginning of class. I am kind to myself. I allowed love to fill me up and guide my actions. I love myself and others fearlessly. I have the strength to follow my heart. I am willing to release all fears. I am open to give and receive love. I love and accept myself. Bringing some movement back into your fingers and toes, your wrists and ankles. Hugging your knees back into your chest and rolling over onto your favorite side. Slowly pushing yourself back up into a seated position. Hands come to heart center in prayer position. Bowing your head. I seriously feel so blessed and supported and happy to be able to share something that I am so deeply in love with, yoga, connecting our mind, our body, and our spirit. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste. Yay!